The $9.6 billion question. In 1997, Paul Allen bought the Seattle Seahawks for $194 million. In July 2026, the Kozler family entered a formal agreement to purchase the same franchise for a reported $9.612 billion. The transaction still requires approval from NFL owners, almost 50 times the original price. Now imagine that you are buying a different NFL franchise for $6 billion. The team generates approximately $720 million in annual revenue. It spends about $636 million operating the organization. Operating profit: approximately $84 million. Now assume the ownership group uses $1.2 billion of illustrative acquisition financing at 6.5% interest. Annual interest: $78 million. Remaining before taxes, owner distributions, and major stadium investments: approximately $6 million. $6 billion goes into the purchase. $720 million comes through the business. After expenses and illustrative financing, almost nothing remains for the owner to withdraw. Operating profit is not the same as personal cash. The team may need new training facilities, stadium renovations, reserve capital, or additional equity before the owner receives anything. Yet, when a franchise becomes available, billionaires compete to pay more than the financial statements appear to justify. Why would a rational buyer spend $6 billion on a business that may produce almost no annual spendable cash? To answer that, follow our buyer through the first year of ownership. What the buyer actually purchases. Acquisition day does not begin on the field. It begins inside a league meeting. The buyer is purchasing the right to operate one of only 32 NFL franchises. League approval is required. Ownership rules apply. Debt is restricted. The buyer cannot run the asset like an independent private company. The purchase includes a brand, roster, employees, contracts, local commercial relationships, and rights connected to a stadium. But none of those assets produces an NFL game alone. The buyer also needs recognized opponents, a national schedule, player rules, officials, a championship, broadcasters, and 31 other ownership groups willing to cooperate. You are not buying the ability to organize a football game. You are buying admission into a system that makes the game commercially important. For our financial benchmark, we will use Green Bay. The Packers are not financially identical to every NFL franchise. Market size, stadium arrangements, suites, sponsorships, and surrounding real estate can produce very different local results. But because Green Bay publicly discloses its finances, it provides the clearest available window into NFL economics. Its latest available annual report showed approximately $719 million in revenue and $83.7 million in operating profit for the fiscal year ending March 31, 2025. Those numbers explain what our buyer sees when the first league payment arrives. The revenue from somewhere else. More than $432 million of Green Bay's reported revenue came from national sources. That was about 60% of total revenue. National television agreements, league sponsorships, licensing, and other shared sources allow a team to receive hundreds of millions before its local ticket office performs. The remaining approximately $286 million came from local operations. For our buyer, this national distribution feels like protection. The team can have a disappointing season without losing its entire revenue base. A small market franchise can still participate in the same central media engine as a team in a much larger city. Most businesses must create every dollar in their own market. An NFL team begins with revenue created by the combined attention of the entire league, but the payment comes with dependents. The buyer does not control the national broadcast agreements alone. They cannot set the schedule independently or sell the same national rights twice. And the shared payment only provides stability. The real local upside must still be created inside and around the stadium. The local money machine. The first home game turns the property into a temporary city. Fans pay for tickets, parking, food, drinks, merchandise, and premium seating. Corporations lease suites and hospitality spaces. Sponsors buy access to signs, scoreboards, social channels, broadcasts, and fan databases. Outside game day, the stadium may host concerts, college games, conferences, tours, and private events. Some owners extend the model into nearby hotels, apartments, offices, restaurants, and retail. The team attracts the crowd. The surrounding property tries to keep spending after the final whistle, but local revenue changes sharply from one franchise to another. A modern stadium in a wealthy market can generate far more commercial income than an older venue with fewer premium areas and limited surrounding development. Our buyer sees opportunity. Then the first major payroll cycle begins, paying for an unpredictable product. The NFL salary cap is $301.2 million for the 2026 season. The cap limits player accounting charges, but it is not the complete cost of building the team. The owner also funds coaches, scouts, analysts, medical staff, equipment, travel, security, training facilities, executives, and player benefits. Contracts create another complication. Guaranteed money may remain economically relevant after a player is injured, released, traded, or no longer performing at the expected level. Salary cap charges attached to former players become dead money. The owner is not paying only for performance. The owner is paying for forecasts about human performance, and those forecasts can tear a ligament. The buyer cannot immediately cut every bad decision. Reducing payroll may weaken the roster. Releasing a player may accelerate cap charges. Replacing coaches and executives creates new costs while old contracts may still be paid. Revenue can fall during one bad season. The cost structure usually moves more slowly. Now the buyer reaches the 4 moments that determine whether the year feels like ownership or financial captivity. 4 seasons, 4 different businesses. Season 1, the playoff run. The team starts winning. By December, playoff ticket demand explodes. The premium seat department begins renewing customers before the season ends. Merchandise staff add shifts. Sponsors reserve higher profile placements for the following year. The team's local revenue rises by an illustrative $50 million. Playoff bonuses, travel, staffing, security, and other expenses rise by $25 million. Operating profit increases from approximately $84 million to $109 million. The buyer has delivered a successful season. Against a $6 billion purchase price, the operating return is still below 2%. The team reached the playoffs, filled the stadium, and increased profit by $25 million. The purchase price barely noticed. Then the roster ages. Several expensive players are injured. The following season moves in the opposite direction. Season 2, the losing year. By mid-season, empty premium seats appear on television. The renewal department calls longtime customers who are considering leaving. Sponsors ask for discounts or additional inventory. Merchandise demand slows. Hospitality clients become harder to retain. Local revenue falls by an illustrative $60 million. Some game day costs decline, but player contracts, facilities, management, league obligations, and most administrative expenses remain. Total costs fall by only $15 million. Operating profit drops from $84 million to approximately $39 million. After the illustrative $78 million interest expense, the ownership group loses about $39 million before tax and major capital projects. Revenue can react to losing in one season. Player contracts, facilities, and debt may need years to react. The buyer can replace the coach. The buyer can restructure contracts. What they cannot repair alone is a problem affecting every team simultaneously. Season 3, the media shock. Assume National League revenue falls by 10%. The team loses approximately $43 million of revenue before changing a single local ticket price. Base operating profit falls from $84 million to roughly $41 million. After illustrative interest, the team produces an estimated $37 million loss. An empty seat damages one game. A weaker media agreement reprices the entire league. The most important customer may never enter the stadium. It is the broadcaster or platform paying for millions of people to watch at the same moment. This is the league-level risk hidden beneath local success. A team can have loyal fans, strong sponsorships, and a sold-out stadium, yet still lose value if live sports rights stop growing as expected. Then the city requests a meeting. The stadium is becoming outdated. Season 4. The Stadium Call. Engineers present the renovation plan. New premium areas. Updated concourses, better technology, improved training spaces, more security, modern broadcast facilities. The owner's required contribution, an illustrative $500 million. The buyer asks the city for public participation. Taxpayers object to funding an asset owned by billionaires. Local officials fear the political consequences of losing the team. Fans fear relocation. The owner argues that the stadium produces jobs, tourism, and regional visibility. The meeting becomes a negotiation over money, identity, and leverage. Our buyer has 4 choices: borrow more, contribute new equity, sell a minority stake, or threaten to explore another market. Owning the team may require billions to enter, hundreds of millions to remain competitive, and another $500 million when the building becomes unfashionable. After tickets, payroll, media exposure, and stadium capital, the investment still appears irrational. And that is because the annual income statement is only half the story. But before revealing the other half, compare this buyer with owners in other sports. Not every team has NFL economics. An NBA owner also joins a closed North American league governed by collective revenue and salary rules. But a smaller roster allows individual superstars to influence demand, sponsorship, and competitive performance more directly. Arena economics and local market strength can therefore produce different outcomes. Major League Baseball has greater variation in local media income and payroll spending. Unlike the NFL's hard salary cap, baseball has historically relied on a competitive balance tax system, although the league and players continue debating stronger payroll controls. European football is more dangerous in a different way. A club can qualify for lucrative continental competition or be relegated into a lower domestic division. UEFA's regulatory framework expressly recognizes promotion and relegation as part of the European sports model. An NFL owner can finish last and remain inside the same league. A European football owner can finish near the bottom and watch the business fall into a lower economic division. The broad principle is similar. Owners purchase teams because sport converts identity and live attention into revenue. But the risk structure changes by league. The NFL combines shared national income, controlled membership, and protection from relegation in a particularly powerful way. Now, return to Seattle. The Seahawks payoff. After examining the tickets, payroll, stadium, and debt, the business still looks irrational. Until the owner decides to sell. Paul Allen's reported 1997 purchase price was $194 million. The Kosler family's 2026 purchase agreement values the Seahawks at a reported $9.612 billion, subject to NFL approval. That is approximately 49.5 times the earlier price. The implied annualized increase is about 14.4% over 29 years, before adjusting for inflation, taxes, operating distributions, stadium investment, or transaction costs. The franchise did not sell 49 times more tickets. It did not generate 49 times more annual operating profit. Something larger changed around it. Broadcast revenue expanded. Streaming platforms entered sports. Sponsorship grew. Live programming became more valuable as audiences fragmented elsewhere. And the number of NFL franchises remained 32. Annual profit kept the team operating. Media growth repriced the league. Scarcity converted one ownership position into a multi-billion-dollar asset. This is the answer delayed since the opening. The buyer may tolerate a low annual cash yield because the expected fortune is created when the franchise itself is eventually sold, refinanced, or partially transferred at a higher valuation. Operating profit keeps the asset alive. Appreciation creates the wealth. The owner who cannot act alone. Even after paying billions, the owner remains constrained. League approval affects ownership changes. Debt rules limit financing. Shared contracts determine major revenue. Collective bargaining shapes player costs. League scheduling affects local opportunities. The owner can hire executives, approve budgets, improve facilities, develop nearby real estate, and build commercial relationships. They cannot guarantee championships, eliminate injuries, choose their own opponents, or rewrite league rules alone. That restriction is not merely an inconvenience. You may control the team, but the asset is valuable because the league limits what every owner, including you, is allowed to do. That restriction is not merely an inconvenience. It protects the collective product. If every owner could ignore financial rules, abandon shared revenue, or create unlimited franchises, the scarcity supporting the valuation could weaken. Final verdict: owning a sports team can produce surprisingly modest annual cash relative to its purchase price. Winning improves local income. Losing exposes fixed costs. Media agreements support the league. Stadiums demand fresh capital. But the owner does not become rich because every season generates enormous cash. The owner becomes rich because every season makes the league harder to replace. The players create the spectacle. The league protects the scarcity. The owner gets rich by holding the seat.